and welcome to Autocrat. This is episode 84, the Aeneid part 4, War Unleashed, Destiny Forged.
Ooh.
In today's episode, we catch back up with Aeneas after he left the underworld and is now making his way to...
Italy, hopefully.
Yeah. We're going to be covering book 7 and book 8 in this episode.
Nice.
So, book 7. After leaving Cumae, where Aeneas' old nurse Gaeta dies and is buried on the Nerby Cape that henceforth bears her name, modern Gaeta,
Okay.
the Trojans sails northward. They pass the island of the ancient Circe and, at dawn the following day, reach the mouths of the Tiber River where they dock their ships.
Oh, the Tiber. We're in Italy then.
We're somewhere, for sure.
Oh, we're somewhere.
In Italy.
It's the Tiber River, so you know.
At this pivotal juncture, which is the beginning of the Italian phase of Aeneas' adventure, Vergil invokes Erato, the muse of lyric poetry, to aid him in recounting the second half of the epic.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Virgil himself invokes the muse.
I get it. Like, you know, you're halfway through a long journey, you've got to make a fuel pit stop. So he basically just had a muse pit stop.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, we're in Italy, we're close by that river. We're also arriving to Latium.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the political situation there for a bit.
Oh, I was so looking forward to political situations last time, so this ought to be good.
Yes. The king of Latium is named Latinus, and he is a descendant of Saturn's. He rules Latium with his wife Amata, or Amata,
Yep.
and their only surviving child, Lavinia.
Okay. It feels a bit on the nose for the king of the Latins to be called Latinus.
It does. It is mentioned that she is of marriageable age and being courted by many suitors.
Right, so for the ancient world, that probably means 8 years old.
Now, the foremost among them is Turnus, the powerful leader of the Rutilians.
Okay.
But Latinus is troubled by prophecy. He consulted the oracle of his father Faunus. He learned that Lavinia must not marry a Latin, but a foreigner, and then from this union will spring a race destined to rule the world.
Okay.
Yet another prophecy!
But he's not a Latin, he's a Rutulian, so surely he's fine with that news.
By the way, little history for you.
Yep.
Vergil makes Latinus being the son of Faunus and the nymph Marica, but also stresses his descent from Saturn, right?
Sure.
I think in other sources I've seen, Latinus is not necessarily the son of Faunus and Marica,
Okay.
but Vergil makes him to be the son of those people, but still very much descendant from Saturn.
Right.
And Saturn, I don't know if you knew that, but in Roman myths, ruled during what were called the Golden Age in Latium.
Oh, yeah.
And that ties very well from myth to history to actual fact, because the Trojans' arrival to Rome's imagined origin are therefore in a time of peace and prosperity, which will contrast with what's to come soon.
Okay.
And Augustus, who was an actual, emperor of Rome,
Yep.
often styled his own reign as a return to Saturnian Golden Age.
Okay.
So-
Nice modest chap then.
Yeah, so it ties... Vergil ties like the myth of Saturn, everything like the golden age of a myth, to Augustus really talking about genuine golden age,
Okay.
which did happen during his reign, I believe.
Yeah. I can almost hear him etching "Please don't stab me" in between the lines of the Aeneid as he's writing this. Augustus looking over his shoulder and ruffling his hair going, "Good boy," every now and then.
And I think it's also funny that that's how Vergil describes it, because didn't he leave during the time of Augustus' reign?
He did. The Aeneid was commissioned by Augustus himself, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, so there you go.
Yeah. I will say, as a teaser on your end, keep your eye on both the Rutulians and the River Tiber. We come back to them very shortly after the Aeneid.
I will keep my eyes open. But yeah, hope you like this little history fact that I got in there.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, it reminds me of the golden era of our podcast, which is me sitting up with huge bags under my eyes, sifting through paper, going, none of these family trees match each other, and punching a wall.
Yeah, they really don't. Anyway,
Yeah.
meanwhile, on the shore of the Tiber, the Trojans prepare a meal.
Okay.
They heap fruit and vegetable upon hard wizened cakes, using them as makeshift platters. When the food is gone, hunger drives them to break and eat the very cakes that served as their table.
Okay.
Ascanius, will you remember who Ascanius is, I hope?
Yep, Aeneas' son.
Yes.
Nice.
While laughing, remarks that they have indeed eaten their tables. In quote. Thus fulfilling the prophecy that we heard in book 3, that was given to us by a harpy.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yet another prophecy! But Vergil attributes it to Anchises here, so there's, always a bit of disparity.
Okay, maybe Aeneas had another hidden son called Anchises that is never referenced again. Or his dad came back from the dead just to make this one bad pun and then leave again.
I mean that the prophecy was said by Anchises instead of the harpy.
Oh, sorry, right.
Like, basically Vergil says in that book that it was a prophecy from Anchises, but we saw in book 3 is by a harpy telling him,
Yeah.
this thing about eating table.
Yeah, okay, so everyone scrub this young Prince Anchises I came up with from your mind. He probably doesn't exist.
But yeah, Aeneas recognizes this anyway as the long-awaited sign that they have reached their promised land.
Right. Feels like an incredibly variable and subjective sign of a promised land that you could just at any point eat your tables, so to speak.
Yeah. The next morning, Aeneas dispatches 100 envoys bearing gifts to King Latinus.
100?
Yes, while he himself begins to lay out plans for a new city.
Why did he send the entire group off? Is he just building by himself? Did he want some quiet time? Aeneas is an introvert.
Latinus receives the Trojans warmly, convinced that they are the strangers foretold by this oracle.
Yep.
He offers them land and in a gesture of alliance proposes that Aeneas take Lavinia as his bride.
That's so abrupt.
Very.
He's the only guy who didn't show up in the city. Why is he going, that man, that loner, building on a hill?
And I mean, even if this means eventual Trojan rule over Latium, Latinus judges it wiser to accept fate than resist it.
Wait, has he just learnt more than every single person in Greek myth ever?
Maybe.
Whoa, new level unlocked. Common sense.
Let's switch to Juno for a single little moment.
Right.
Because she is wrathful.
Oh, and there was me going to say she's really happy about all her plans being foiled.
Yeah. And even though she can no longer bar the Trojans from Italy, because they're there.
Ironically, I would say that ship has sailed, but the ship no longer is sailing.
She resolves to delay their destiny and inflict suffering.
Okay.
She summons Alecto, one of the Dread Furies, to sow discord.
Oh, they're back as Furies again.
Yeah.
Oh, Alecto got bored of being one of the Eumenides and went back to her old job.
Probably. Alecto first infects Queen Amata, who already favours Turnus as her daughter's suitor. Whispering venom, the Fury inflames Amata's opposition to Aeneas, twisting her mind like a serpent coiling around its prey.
Okay.
Amata argues that Turnus, being of Greek descent, is himself a foreigner and thus fulfills the oracle's demand.
I mean, that's what I said. So I'm on Team Amata here.
Yeah, well, when Latinus refuses to yield,
Oh.
Amata, enraged, hides Lavinia from sight. So maybe she puts her in a cover or something?
Yeah. I'm saying smuggled out in a suitcase.
Maybe. Alecto next approaches Turnus, at first disguised as an old woman, urging him to defend his right to Lavinia by force. But what do you mean his right to Lavinia?
His right.
When Turnus dismisses her as a mad crone, she reveals her true terrifying form, and Turnus, shaken, rouses his warriors to arms. Finally, Alecto turns her malice upon the Trojan. She insists Ascanius to wound a tame stag beloved by the herdsmen of Latium. The dying animal staggers home and its masters rallies the shepherds who clash with the Trojans in a bloody skirmish.
Why?
Many Latins fall, and though both sides withdraw, the seeds of war are sown.
Nice. Why do they care so much about this deer?
Stag.
Why do they care so much about this stag?
Because it's a cool one.
Oh.
And it's beloved.
Oh, it definitely had 3 antlers.
The The shepherds carry their dead before Latinus, demanding revenge.
That's so horrifying. They just picked up the dead body of their friend Tony and just brought him before the king, dropping him down in front of him and saying, well, what are you going to do about it? Go and bury him, Stephen.
For a little while, the king resists, unwilling to wage war against fate. His court clamours for battles, and even the matter presses him. At last, despairing of his powers to restrain events decreed by the gods, Latinus withdraws into his palace. Turnus, meanwhile, assembles a mighty host joined by the greatest warrior of Italy and prepares to march.
Okay.
Now...
This feels very familiar for some reason.
Well, it would be, because Vergil waves into Roman ritual a bit in that narrative.
Okay.
In historical practice, when Rome prepared for war, the massive bronze and iron gates of Janus, being the god of beginning, gates, transition, passage, and etc., who had a temple, were thrown open, symbolically unleashing the furies and the frenzy of battle.
Okay.
And in the poem, it is actually Juno herself who flings this gate open, personally inaugurating the war between Latins and Trojans.
Okay. I'd heard of the gates of Janus, but I didn't know that specifically about the furies. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a symbol.
Yeah.
And in time of peace, the gates would be closed, and in time of war, they would be open.
Now that I do know, because I seem to remember that Augustus made a massive deal about closing the gates of Janus. I could be wrong, he might be making a big deal about some other gates, but I don't know. I more meant two sides fighting over a woman seems oddly familiar, Homer says, staring over at Vergil, who just innocently goes, yeah, it does, doesn't it? And carries on scribbling.
That brings us to the end of book 7.
Okay.
Now, we once again interrupt this recording because we have another transmission from Roberto. Yeah, he broke into the broadcasting tower again. We really should have heightened security since last time. But what are you going to do? He bribed all the security dogs.
Yeah, with probably good bones.
Yeah.
Ear scratch.
Yeah. So, the fatal flaw in our system, the Autocrat Palace dogs are susceptible to ear scratches. So, without further ado, here is the other clip from Roberto's other podcast, so please enjoy.
Hello, comrades, and welcome to the podcast you are currently listening to. I promise this isn't a Russian invasion, it's a temporary occupation. I'm Roberto, one of the hosts of the podcast, Tsar Power.
And I'm Aurora, the other half of the podcast. Together, we're ranking the Russian rulers from Rurik to Putin. They will compete based on how well they fought, how successful they were in life, how much blackmail they had on them, how they look, how they died, and how long they ruled for.
After being scored, we decided whether they get to party it out in the Kremlin, because there is no party like the Communist Party, or get sent straight to the Gulag. And those who make it to the Kremlin will need to dance it out for the position of the best Russian ruler in our hit show, Dancing with the Tsars. You can find us on any podcast host as Tsar Power, and on Twitter at Tsar Power Pod, and on Facebook at Tsar Power. Our website's also tsarpower.com. That's Tsar spelled T-S-A-R.
Now back to your regularly scheduled podcast. And if you hear a knock at the door, beware, KGB is coming to make your stay a bit more permanent.
Right, so thanks again to Roberto for collaborating with us, and we're on to book 8 now, are we?
We are. And we're keeping on with that battle that's starting.
Yes.
As Turnus rallies allies from across Latium and even seeks the aid of Diomedes, the veteran of Troy, now ruling in southern Italy, by the way.
Okay. Diomedes is in southern Italy?
Yeah.
Why did that not come up at the end of the post-Homerica?
Who knows?
Oh no, Diomedes is here. Given that this man fought the god of war to a standstill in the Iliad, I'm not hopeful for Aeneas' chances if he shows up.
Don't worry, we won't mention him again.
Oh. He was busy that day.
Yeah.
Oh, he was doing his hair.
Probably.
Like,
He
imagine...
only seeks the aid. That doesn't mean Diomedes agrees.
That's true, but I imagine Diomedes has absolutely killer hair because it has to be flowing back in the wind all dramatically. So he definitely spends most of the year doing his hair. What are the other reasons? He's doing his nails? Is that another one?
Or just he doesn't want to.
Yeah, no, but I meant the stereotypical excuses that he's going to give back.
He's busy.
He's filing his spear.
His aunt is giving birth that day.
He's filing his spear that day.
Anyway, Aeneas grows anxious about the coming war, as you would.
Well, you would. Diomedes is definitely going to show up, or at least that's what Turnus tells him.
That night, while he sleeps, the river god Tiberinus appears in a dream.
Oh.
Now, you should know who Tiberinus is.
I'm assuming the god of the Tiber.
Yes. The god reassures him that he has reached the destined land and points out a sign. On the shore, he will find a white sow with 30 piglets symbolizing Alba Longa, which should ring a bell in your mind.
That does, but that's a lot of piglets.
Yes. Alba Longa is the city Ascanius will found after 30 years.
Right.
This vision confirms the prophecy once foretold by Latinus. Tiberinus also advises Aeneas to sail upstream to Pallanteum, the city of King Evander, and seek alliance with him against the Latins.
Right. Remind me to come back to this river god in a few episodes' time, because there's something I've noticed in my research that makes me think that the chronology doesn't fully match up with this.
No, it doesn't really.
I meant specifically about the river god and more principally his name, but you'll have to remind me next time the river comes up.
Okay. At dawn, Aeneas prays to the river. The river came up.
Oh. Well, I can say now if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, the river has a different name at this point and doesn't get named the Tiber until far later.
Alright.
If we remember to cover this again, we will, and we can come up with what his alternative name would have been then.
Okay. So Aeneas prays to the river and discovers the sow and her litter, which he sacrifices to Juno.
Okay, so he found a sow and 30 piglets, symbolising that he will accomplish nothing but his son will, and then he murders them.
Also, he sacrifices to Juno.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of, as we should now call him, Hercules, desperately trying to ingratiate himself with Juno.
He then embarks with 2 galleys and rows up the Tiber. After several days, he and his men arrive at Pallanteum, where they encounter Evander, his son Pallas, and a crowd of citizens engaged in their annual rites honoring Hercules.
I mean,
because that's a thing.
Well, Hercules did come through Italy when he lost all those cows that one time. So I guess that makes sense. I probably didn't cover, what's it called? Pallanteum then, but it might have come up.
Maybe.
They were desperate to insert Rome into the myth at this point anyway, from what I remember.
Yeah. Aeneas identifies himself and his mission, and Evander welcomes him warmly.
Nice.
Evander is a Greek exile who long ago settled in Italy, and he recalls his youthful meeting with Priam and Anchises. And he recognizes kinship with Aeneas, both trace descent from Atlas through Electra and Maya.
Right, I did put a family tree of the Trojans on the website. I think that sounds familiar, descent from Atlas, but I have no idea if Evander's on that tree. This really is desperately making me think, like any big franchise, did I notice this character? Were they a side character in a previous season? I have no idea if Evander showed up before. Just a note from Editing Vince at this point to say that I've looked into Evander in a bit more detail, and the claim of kinship between him and Aeneas is indeed true. Evander is most often said to be the son of Hermes, or Mercury, I suppose, as we cover. Well, Mercury/Hermes was the son of Zeus, or Jupiter, by Maia, who was one of the Pleiades and a daughter of Atlas. In the Trojan family tree on our website, you can see that Aeneas is the great-great-great-great-grandson of a certain Dardanus, who was himself a son of Zeus via Electra, who was another daughter of Atlas. So, by this maths, Aeneas and Evander are second cousins 5 times removed. As for whether Evander actually shows up in Greek mythology, he's mentioned by sources such as Strabo, Livy, and Dionysius of Halicarnassus, but crucially also turns up briefly in the story of Heracles. When Heracles is crossing through Italy after fetching Geryone's cattle, he is hosted by Evander, who was set up in Italy after being exiled from the Greek region of Arcadia. The pair later build an altar to Zeus after Heracles kills the monstrous carcass, and Heracles goes on to kill a king called Faunus and liberate Evander from his tributary status to the Etruscans. So, clearly, he does come up in Greek myth, albeit slightly, briefly, and tangentially. Evander's city of Pallanteum is founded 60 years before the Trojan War, so about 1253 BCE, on the site of Rome's Palatine Hill. Anyway, back to past us.
Well, he invites Aeneas to join the feat and the rites of Hercules, patron of the Arcadians, who once slew the monster Cacus in the nearby cave. As host, he explains the simple life of his people, contrasting their rustic dwellings with the grandeur of Rome that will one day rise on this very site.
This is starting to feel like a joke that everyone else is in on except Aeneas. He probably grabbed Evander by the neck, shaking him, going, "What is this Rome people keep talking about?"
He recounts how Saturn, exiled by Jupiter, once came to Latium and taught civilization to the wild natives, giving the land its name.
Okay, so we have to add a random tangent while Saturn was being thrown down to Tartarus, where as he falls, he stops in Italy and just goes, "Oh, by the way, this place is called Latium now, bye." And then he falls.
I mean, Evander even points out, and we're going to come to a little history bits right there.
Right.
He points out landmarks that will later become central to Rome, including the future Capitoline Hill.
Okay. Again, he just grabs him and goes, "What is Rome? Stop bringing this up."
I mean, it's also Vergil's way to anchor this epic in Rome's topography, by Evander pointing out, like I just said, the Capitoline Hill, and other sites that in Vergil's own day, like in his current day,
Yep.
Augustus is transforming into a monument of empire.
Nice.
And that humble little Arcadian is just foreshadowing the grandeur of Augustan Rome.
Okay, a bit like when you have an origin story of a character and you go, "Oh, they turned from that into this."
Yeah. Basically, when you read between the lines and when you just even read the lines,
Yep.
Vergil is a massive Augustus fan. And he loves Augustus so much and he thinks Augustus is really, really great.
Well, he should do, given that Augustus is in charge of everything and is paying him through the nose for this. Again, Aeneas probably frothing at the mouth, going, "Why do people keep mentioning the future? Stop it."
Well, we're not done with that.
Oh, good. Aeneas is going to be so mad.
Well, for now, we're going to sweep over to Venus.
Okay.
She is troubled by the danger her son is facing and appeals to her husband Vulcan, who is the god of fire and forge.
Right. He's unlikely to help her with anything, I feel like, given that she is famous for cheating on him in their own bed in a different Greek myth.
You're wrong.
Oh.
She persuades him to craft divine arms for Aeneas. Vulcan descends to his workshop beneath Mount Etna, where the Cyclops labor, and commands them to begin forging weapons of surpassing strength and beauty.
I've just realised why this annoys me.
Why?
This is that one book of the Iliad, almost word for word, where Achilles' mum shows up to Hephaestus and goes, "Make me some cool armour." It's again a divine mum of a mortal son going to Vulcan this time. I mean, hey, he's happiest when he's working at the forge, I think, so at least there's that.
Yeah. Back to Evander.
Yes.
The next morning, he pledges his support. Even though his own resources are modest, he offers Aeneas what troops he can spare and calls upon neighbouring allies.
It's definitely 5 guys in a field.
He entrusts his beloved son Pallas to Aeneas' care, asking that the Trojan teach him the art of war and return him safely.
Oh boy, this already feels like I should say I hope nothing bad happens to him.
Evander also advises Aeneas to speak to the Etruscans of Aegila, who, having overthrown their cruel king Mezentius, now allied with the Latins, await a foreign leader to command them, as the seer has decreed.
2 notes here. 1, I'm very excited because it's the first mention of the Etruscans, but by far not the last. Second of all, as far as I'm aware from my looking ahead, keep your eye on Mezentius.
I will do.
I don't remember if that goes anywhere. I think it might do.
Encouraged by omens from his mother, Aeneas sets out for Aegila with Pallas, 400 horsemen and a band of Trojans, while sending the rest back to Ascanius with news. At Aegila, he is welcomed by Tarchon, who is the leader of the Etruscans, and joins force with their army.
Okay.
That same night, Venus appears to Aeneas and delivers the arms that Vulcan has completed. There is a helmet, corselet, sword, spear, and a magnificent shield.
Here, I borrowed this off Achilles.
Well, we're going to go into history in a bit again.
Okay. Now, Do we get a massively over-the-top description of the shield?
We do.
Of course we do.
But it's historically very important, so listen well.
Okay.
The shield is adorned with scenes of Rome's future glory.
Even his mum is in on this.
Romulus being suckled by the she-wolf, whatever that means.
That probably won't go anywhere.
The defeat of the Gauls, wherever they are.
Okay.
And most prominently, the naval battle of Actium.
Ah, Actium.
Now, I don't know where I should say what the next bit about that battle is on there or not, because I don't know how spoilery it would be.
I mean, knowing our pace, it's a spoiler for 400 episodes from now, so...
Alright, well, this battle is where Augustus triumphs over Antony and Cleopatra.
You know what? When we get to the Battle of Actium, I will try to find this clip and put it in as evidence that we did in fact mention this ages and ages ago.
You should write it down, like on notes somewhere.
So good luck, future me. I hope you remember this.
Yeah, write it down like in the spreadsheet.
Please don't hate me, future me.
Though Aeneas cannot comprehend these images...
He's frothing at the mouth now. Mom!
The divine artistry foreshadows the destiny that awaits its descendants and the empire that they will found.
I hope they gave him, like, footnotes to accompany this, because if someone gave me a shield, right, which had a picture of a baby with a wolf, some boats, and a load of men running about, I wouldn't think, this clearly is talking about my family. Again, we mentioned the other day that his descendants will include, spoiler alert, Julius Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that's that defeat of the Gauls we're talking about, because you just mentioned it's about his descendants specifically.
Yeah.
But again, I know this isn't in the Aeneid. I imagine Aeneas is very, very annoyed and done with people talking about things he doesn't understand at this point. Stop it, guys!
I mean, what this is once again Vergil making a contemporary triumph, like this big battle, which was really a defining moment of Roman history, where Augustus celebrated victory that secured his rule, literally. Yeah. And he places that scene in Aeneas' hand, so he fuses like a myth to an historical event.
Yeah.
And make them match together to kind of prove that this is actually all true or not.
Now, either Augustus has nothing to do with this and Vergil is just really in love with Augustus, or Augustus has literally taken Vergil's hand and is tracing over what he's supposed to write, going, give me a six-pack and flowing hair, full stop.
But yeah, with this shield being placed in his hand, this brings us to the end of book 8 and to the end of this episode.
Very nice.
So hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for book 9 and 10, nearly there.
Yeah, the penultimate episode on the Aeneid.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week. I'm more confused with how, you know, the dream sequence? How did that appear to outsiders? Was there just a sudden clank and then a shield just appears in the tent? Like, the others can't see Venus. There's just a sudden crash and, like, a guy sleeping next to Aeneas has a shield land on his face.
I mean, maybe Aeneas had his own room, you don't know.
I don't know, but it's way funnier to just imagine one guy guarding him at the foot of the bed, just sleeping curled up next to it, or like a dog or something, and then just bang, shield on his head.
That'd be pretty funny.